Egyptian god card! Sniper, the Sky Dragon! Obelisk the Tormentor and the Winged Dragon of Ra! You've allowed me to assemble the 3 strongest and most feared creatures in Duel Monsters, Kaiba.
Hey guys, this is Life from Maniac. Guys, this is my first deck profile for the Pyramid of Light movie. I call it the Joey's Opponents and Joey's Opponents and Other Antagonists Duelists deck profile. But I call it that because there were many opponents who challenged Joey Wheeler in order to defeat Yugi Muto. But first they had to challenge Joey Wheeler and defeat him to get to Yugi. That was the plan. So we saw just a couple of cards of each duelist. I think it was just 2 or 3. I think it was even 2. We see a couple of cards, and I had to make up my mind and be very creative by adding those cards also in a consistent deck, of course. And as you might already witness on this very front, Injection Fairy Lily was one of them. So also this card is included in there. So I just don't want to talk around it, but just directly tap into it and dive into what I have in store for you. So there we go. So the opponents of Joey Wheeler had monster cards in their decks, which I would call very much basic, if you exclude Injection Fairy Lily, which I think is very much special. Injection Fairy Lily, by the way, a card which I personally pulled back in the days 20 years before from the Legacy of Darkness booster pack. I will show it to you just 1 second. So there it is. This is my Injection Fairy Lily, which I pulled from Legacy of Darkness back in the days. It has been now 20 years, was 2004. 20 years since I pulled that very one from the booster. So I didn't have any I didn't buy any booster boxes, or I didn't change that with another card, but I pulled it myself. I think I just bought 1 or 2 boosters, and then one of them, it was the first booster from the store. This was pulled from me. So there you go. I also have this one. Yeah, but I put it back in the other deck. So there we go. First of all, the first opponent possesses an Injection Fairy Lily, which of course has 3 stars and it's an Earth attribute and a spellcaster type monster with 400 attack and 1500 defense. Injection Fairy Lily has a very cunning effect, after my opinion, which I myself practically and virtually always used in order to win a duel, and many times succeeded in doing this. So it is a very important deck. If I would make my own deck for a personal deck profile for GOAT format, she would be also in there. So Injection Fairy Lily has the effect, of course, only during the damage step you can pay 2000 life points to make her attack go up plus 3000. So she has 400 attack only, but only during the damage step you can give her 3000 life points by paying 3000 attack points by paying 2000 life points. And you can do it each time. So if you've been attacked or you attack, it's not a once per turn effect, but it's very much risky. So you have to very much put this strategy and tactic down wisely. Then the next opponent had one Fenrir in his deck, so I put it in there as a 3-of. Fenrir is even now a very cool card and very logical to have it in some decks, at least at some water decks, I think, because Fenrir is a water type, 4 stars and beast, a water attribute beast type monster. It possesses 1400 attack and 1200 defense, and its effect is you have to it cannot be normal summoned or set. It can only be special summoned by removing 2 water attribute monsters from your graveyard from play, and if this card destroys one of your opponent's monsters as a result of battle, then he or she has to skip her next draw phase. So it's working a little bit like Yata-Garasu as well, which was which had this lockdown effect and was, I think, in one of the very first ban lists from Yu-Gi-Oh! A card, Yata-Garasu, by the way, a card which my best friend and cousin Reshad had in this deck back in the day, which very much locked my deck down here and there. So yeah, it has a very strong OVP winning condition had back in the day. So and of course, as we have Fenrir in this deck, it makes all the sense of the world because we need water type monsters in the deck. I put in there a colored fish, water type, 4 stars, 1800 attack, 800 defense, fish attack. Crazy Hummer, also 3 stars, water attribute, aqua type, 1700 defense, 1000 attack. Water Omodix, water attribute, 4 stars, aqua type, 1400 attack, 1200 defense. Turtle Tiger, water type, 4 stars, aqua attribute, water attribute, aqua type, 1000 attack and 1500 defense. Further on, Water Magician, water attribute, 4 stars, and aqua type, 1400 attack, 1000 defense. The Red Sea Snake, 4 stars, also aqua, of course, attribute, water attribute, aqua type, 1800 attack and 800 defense. Then I put in there also 2 water monster with an effect. The one is a good searcher, which is Mother Grizzly, water attribute, beast warrior type, 4 stars, 1400 attack and 1000 defense. And the effect is, of course, if this card is destroyed by battle center graveyard, it can special summon 1 water monster with 1500 attack or less attack from your deck in the attack position, which doesn't work with Fenrir, as we need to remove 2 water attribute monsters from the graveyard in order to special summon. But you can search all of the others, or not all, but many of the others, because 1500 or less is this one. Yeah, some of them at least. Then I have Blizzard Dragon, which is a water attribute, 4 stars, and dragon effect, 1800 attack and 1000 defense. And once per turn, you can choose 1 monster which your opponent controls. It can until your next end phase neither change its battle position nor declare an attack. So there we go. This was all water attribute monsters which I put in there in order to make this Fenrir mechanics work in this deck. Then he played out another engine, which was now the second opponent, not the first. The first we just only saw Injection Fairy Lily, of course. Sorry. So there we go. Then the other mechanics was Inpachi. We saw Inpachi. So I put in there Inpachi and all of the other Inpachis that there exist. So Inpachi has 4 stars, Earth attribute, machine type, 1600 attack and 1900 defense. It's a very good defense stats. And then I put in there a Carcoal, 2 Carcoal Inpachis, 1 stars, fire attribute, and pyro type, but with 100 attack, with 2100 defense. It's a very, very good defensive lineup and measure. Then I put in there Blazing Inpachi as a 3 off. Oh no, as a 2 off, sorry. Also pyro, fire attribute, pyro type, 4 stars, 1850 attack and 0 defense, so it's clearly the opposite. You have a good balance of both, 1600 attack and 1900 defense. Here you have the 2100 defense against just 100 attack, and here you have the opposite, very strong attack stats, 1850 namely, and 0 defense. So there we go. Last but not least, I have the wooden Inpachi in there. There we go. I am just putting them near to each other so you can see it better. Carcoal Inpachi has 5 stars, so you need to attribute a monster in order to summon it. It's also a fire attribute, machine type, 5 stars, like I already said, 500 attack and 2500 defense. So its defense stats are even stronger than that of Carcoal Inpachi. So there we have it. There you go, all the Inpachi engine. Then I put in there a Berserk Gorilla for more attack power. Earth attribute 4 stars. Beast type 2000 attack and 1000 defense. But also it has an effect, of course, and its effect is if this card is in defense position, destroy this card, and this card must attack if able. So you have always to attack with this card, which can be of course also a downside if you like your opponent possesses stronger monsters, for example, or it's drawn into defense position and it's destroyed. So you have 2 downsides. But I wanted to also go a little bit and risk it, because also the opponents of Joey Wheeler were mediocre at best with their mechanics. So I wanted to just give him a little bit a standard deck from back in the days. And because on Battle City there still existed very many vanilla monsters, I thought it would be appropriate to have so many of them. Then I put in there Mephisto, the Infernal General. Mephisto as a dark attribute, 5 stars. Fiend type monster, 1800 attack, 1700 defense. So not that strong of a monster with an tribute, because with tribute you have to have at least 2000 or more, after my opinion. And its effect is then rather cool. If this card destroys a monster in defense position, you have to give him piercing battle damage to your opponent. And if this card gives battle damage to your opponent, then your opponent has to choose one random card from his or her hand and then put him to the graveyard. So this is almost all. We have 2 monsters left, which are making up the peak of this deck, which is I think with 23 monster cards about, is alright. I put in there a Great Marju-Garzet, and last but not least a Marju-Garzet. Marju-Garzet was even shown in the anime, so the second opponent clearly possessed a Marju-Garzet. So I thought it would make all sense in the world if Great Marju-Garzet also was in there. So Great Marju-Garzet, one of the boss monsters in this deck, has 6 stars as a dark attribute fiend type monster. 0 attack and 0 defense, but its effect, the attack of this card becomes twice the original attack of one monster that you tributed for the tribute summon of this card. So it's you tribute one monster, and then, like for example Inpachi, then 1600 attack, you double it, makes 3200. So yeah, not that bad of a possibility for just one tribute. Or maybe you take one of the 1400 standard monsters, you might say, or which make out the average of this deck about 1400 attack. Then you end up having 2800 with the Great Marju-Garzet. And the Marju-Garzet possesses 7 stars, also a dark attribute and fiend type monster. And the attack which this monster gets is the addition of the attack of the 2 monsters which you tributed for this card. So for example, if you tributed 2 Impachis, then you have 3200 attack. Or if you have, for example, 7 colored fish, then you just add the attack stats, crazy armor, then you just add those 2 attack stats together, and then the addition and the result of that gets the attack stats to this card, which of course it has a downside. You don't get any defense stats, so just that card is just made for the attack, like the Great Marju-Garzet, I think, as well. Yeah, so it's very much an aggressive deck, you might say. But I also like there were Inpachi, so if you have all the Inpachi lineup, you have also a good defense possibility, an option to put down against your opponent. So these were the monster cards. Now let's dive into the spells. Spell cards, I put also in there a very basic spell card lineup, because I thought it would be very, very much to claim that it would be a over-potentialed deck profile. I don't think it is, because Injection Fairy Lily is very much powerful, but still it's not enough to make out a good deck, after my opinion. So I used standard staples like Monster Reborn, which I think back in the Battle City, or just short after the deck Battle City era, many duelists might have in their decks. Like in Exchange, also a very much a card which was played out in the Battle City era. Yeah, of course, once you're born to special summon a monster from one of the graveyards and face attack or defense position, exchange to exchange one card from your opponent, and you and your opponent exchange one card from their hands. And then further on, I have Block Attack, which I also thought it was a card which usually was mostly used in the Duelist Kingdom arc, but in the Virtual World arc here and there, a couple of duelists possess this one too. I'm not sure whether in Battle City also, but yeah. You might assume that the one or another also had this card in their decks. So of course, an face of attack position monster is brought into the defense position with this card. And then I have as board breakers 1 Dark Hole and 1 Heavy Storm, which I thought many had in their decks. I didn't use I didn't take Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster, which after my opinion far more stronger, with the exception if you have I don't know, a deck which is based around graveyard effects, and Darkhold and Heavy Storm maybe make more sense. That, yeah, I think in order to make this deck a little bit strong, at least, these cards would make all the sense of the world. And then, of course, in order for draw power, we have Graceful Charity. Then, in order to destroy a face-up trap card, remove trap. Lucky Iron Axe. Equip spell card which boosts the attack stats further on. The equip monster against 500 attack. When this face up card you control is destroyed by your opponent's face card effect and sent to your graveyard, draw one card. So also another supporter for drawing power. Lightning Blade, another equip spell card. Equip only to a warrior monster, gains 800 attack. All water monsters on the field lose 500 attack. Then the Reliable Guardian, which is a quick spell card and works like that. Increase one monster's defense by 700 points during the turn this card is activated. So if you have the weaker one defense stats monsters on the field and you're brought into a defense position in general, then you can play out this one. And last but not least, for another, you might say, staple, in order to special summon monsters from your graveyard, you have Premature Burial and equip spell card with you have to pay 800 life points and then get one of your monsters in face up attack position, and yeah. And you of course know the conditions. This is my spell lineup for this deck. You can now criticize me, maybe Lightning Blade. I don't have warrior monsters in here, just realizing it. So yeah, you might put that out or put it in the side deck. So this was maybe a little mistake, so it's not needed at all. You can just take another one, maybe, I don't know, Axe of Despair instead. I just fully forgot about that. But yeah, I will then also exchange this one for Axe of Despair, and then yeah, you might imagine how this deck works. There. So, now up to the trap cards. I put in there a very basic trap hole, which I thought also is a very much standard trap card back in the Battle City season. Magic Jammer, in order of course to block a spell card from the opponent. Trap hole, of course, a 1000 attack stats monster or more summoned, then you can put it to the graveyard. Negate attack in order to skip the battle phase of your opponent. Then I don't know how it's called in English. I think it is called Sphere Outburst or something like that, which works like that. If you can only activate this card if you and your opponent have 5 or fewer cards on you the field. As long as the card is open on the field, no player can have more than 5 cards of his or her side of the field. So yeah, you can also see this as a stop and block engine of your opponent's field, but also it can of course block yourself, so it has also a downside on the other hand. So this is it, guys. These 4 trap cards and all these spell cards are already represented to you. This is my Joey's Opponents and Antagonists deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for Dark Phantom for making this possible and setting this idea in my head, because I didn't plan to at first, but as he requested it, I couldn't deny it. And of course, all the wishes which are for deck profiles that you have on this for this channel, you can give it to me in the comment section and or onto my email, and then I will consider them done as fast as I can. Of course, I need also a little bit time, as you already realized. I had very much joy making this one, because it's a deck which it's not just copied, because I had certain elements of cards and then I had to include and add myself and make my imagination work, which I love the most, creativity. And this is the result of it. Next up, also in this week will be coming, is the deck profile of Joey Wheeler, because I didn't plan to do that either, but because I did this deck profile, I will also do the very one from Joey Wheeler. Joey Wheeler, we saw only I think 5 or 6 monster cards, and nonetheless I will do it, and it makes it is more consistent, and this one maybe and makes it also logical. If I put down this one, then you have to put down the other one as well. Who says A also has to say B, you say in Germany, and yeah, we will do it like that, or slash I will do it. Yeah, and stay tuned then for this next deck profile onto that Halloween Shocktober special Pyramid of Light movie arc. This is from me, your Slifermaniac. I wish you guys a very good day, good afternoon, good midday, good evening, wherever and whenever you might see this one. I'm going to bed now. Bye bye. Your Slifermaniac.
Pumpkin, rise from the grave!
What is that thing?
It's the pumpkin, the king of ghosts!